Hello, hello. So, this is the first time I'm going to be doing this. We're going to have our little weekly, maybe. I'm on a poker schedule, so we'll hope weekly recap of how things have been going for Spencer this week. This is Annie, for everybody that doesn't know. Hopefully she doesn't give you a real good view. I'm going to plan on drinking. And the first part of this little review. And if you want to skip the drinking stuff, I think go to about minute 3. And you should be through it. We got a little tasty La Fin de Monde today. The Mrs. $1 Million Hamster right here, also a big fan of it. She's been sick today, so we got her to the vet, and she's much happier. We got her some nice dog food and an antacid that she's going to be taking for a little while, and an anti-nausea because she's been kind of the puke monster lately. So, anyway, Annie, let's get you off the table. Say goodbye to Annie. I've got music playing in the background here, which probably I'm going to get yelled at about by YouTube. But before I get yelled at, I have to get noticed. So, we're just going to take that one day at a time. Machine. Anyway, I figured I'd talk about some poker hands, talk about what's been going on this week, maybe give out some strategy advice, drink some beer, try and be entertaining, and for my 3 current subscribers, hopefully put together a real good show that you guys enjoy, and hopefully in about the 20-minute range. So, we're going to put on this, and go from there. Alright, first thing I've got on the agenda. This week, got to play Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. Back to kind of a typical grinder schedule. Got in 36 hours. Early this week, I ran good in 1-2. No, I ran okay in 1-2. Was pretty card dead for a lot of it. But was able to keep my shit together. Wow, that's got a good kick to it. Very good stuff. Also support your Vietnam vets. I don't know why. It's just what the cup says to do. I had a pretty big win on Friday or on Wednesday in a 2-5 game. Ended up winning a decent four-figure amount. Played until 7 o'clock in the morning, though, and had an incredible lineup. And on Friday, yesterday, we hopped in a game that was pretty good, but I ran bad and was drinking. And I really think I need to not be drinking in games at all right now. I was doing it before, and it was going fine, but if you got one takeaway from this entire thing, probably don't drink while you're playing poker, especially if you're playing for like serious amounts of money. If you want to, if you want to play a little bit smaller and drink some beers, I think that's an outrageously good time. But when you're playing for serious amounts of money, just kind of put it to the side. I think that's what I'm gonna probably do. So, I'm sure that was very, very insightful for everyone. And awesome stuff. Let's get into the meat of some of this stuff. I want to talk about 3 hands that I played this week. And those are going to be the 3 hands of the week. Annie, you're killing me. You're fucking killing me. And then after that, we'll talk some strategy through that stuff, and then we'll kind of go from there and talk, whatever, we're going to hop in. So I had 3 hands this week that I wanted to talk about. The first one was one where I had a queen-queen in a 2-5 game. We had a loose aggressive lady in this pot that limped for $5 under the gun. Like I said, we pick up queen, UTG+2, or UTG+1, sorry. Make it $25 to go. It folds around back to her, and she calls. Flop comes down ace-7-3, just what we're dreaming of with queen, obviously. So ace-7-3, it goes check, and 2 spades on the flop, I should also comment. Check. Turns come down 7. She leads $75 into us, and we make against her a relatively standard call. And I don't want to go too long on this, but obviously some people you should be folding the queen to, especially in lower stakes games. A lot of people are just not going to have a bluffing range here. They're not going to be capable of bluffing, so you're going to let it go. But with a person like this, where I've already shown a passive line on the flop and checked back, and where I know she's capable of bluffing, we're going to go ahead and take the call for $75. So anyway, we have ace-7-7-3, 2 spades on the flop, and the river comes down in offsuit 6. And she goes ahead and bets $300 at it. And this is where the hand gets pretty interesting. Obviously, we got 150 that went in on the turn. $50 roughly pre-flop. Whatever. You take out the blinds for the rake. So you got about a $200 pot that she just fired $300 in. And there's an ace on the board, and we got queens. Basically, my thought process on this, and I think the way you want to start to deconstruct it is, first you want to, as we mentioned on the turn, you want to know whether or not this person is capable of bluffing. If you can't check that box, then, or if you can't check it frequently, then you want to let the hand go. And I think it's a good thing in general to identify players and just kind of make sure that you know which players you're going to be able to fold a lot of hands to and give credit to, and just identify the other players that you're not going to be able to give a lot of credit to. So once I can check the box and say that, yeah, for sure, she's going to be able to bluff here, she's capable, I started to think about what she would limp in with pre-flop and then bet this way and continue to follow through with. Now, obviously, with $300 bet, she's trying to represent an ace or a 7, since we have the paired board. The 7, if she has it, I guess she has it. I don't have a lot to comment on that. She just, whatever. She's capable of having them, and if she has it, it's going to suck. I guess the pocket threes in particular might also be an issue. You got 3 combinations of those. But then really a lot of her range, so we're talking about a relatively small window, because if she has a 7 in her hand, mostly she's going to be connected, so it's going to be a hand like a 7-8, and probably further a 7-8 suited, or a 7-9 suited. So when you're talking about suited combinations there's 2 7s on the board, so that's going to block 2 out of the 4 combinations of the suited hands, and so, and you're only going to have two remaining. So we're talking about 3 combinations of, threes, 2 combinations maybe of 7-8 suited, 2 combinations of 7-9 suited, 1 combination of 7-6 suited by the river, because the 6 is different suit than the 2 7s on the board. We're only talking about 10 combinations of value hands that she has that are 7s or above. And then, we start thinking about big aces. And with the big aces, the real issue is that she's limp pre-flop. Now, I know this player, and since she's limp pre-flop, and then without hesitation called, so put no thought into 3-betting, I can't give her a lot of credit for having big aces. I think we've spent a lot of time on this hand already, so we're going to go ahead and just spoil the results. But I end up calling, and she flips over a king-queen of spades, and we end up taking down the pot. So, pretty good result on that one. Next hand I want to talk about is a hand I played in a 1-2 game early in the week. And this one was kind of fun. So 1-2, we had a very, very loose dynamic in this game. It was by far, I was close to, it was the second best game I had played in this week. Lots of the loose aggressive people. Lots of people that wanted to gamble. Lots of people that wanted to mix it up a lot. So this dynamic contributed very heavily to this hand. We had some folds in early position. And in like the hijack, we had a very gambly player limp. And then it went to the button, who's a guy that I know pretty well, that raised to $17. Now I look down in the small blind at Queen 3 of diamonds, and most of the time you're going to want to fold this hand. But we go ahead and 3-bet to $60. Now, if I didn't lose you already, I'm sure that there's a lot of people now who are like, wow, fuck this guy, I need to go spend my time somewhere else. 3-betting the Queen 3 of diamonds. Hear me out really quick. The reason we're going to do this, and it's really a do not try it at home play, but like I said, I know this guy on the button very well. When he made it $17, he had been doing this on the button, especially versus limpers, roughly 80% of the time. And so choosing big sizings, choosing to isolate. So basically we're just going steal versus steal here. We're going for a resteal. I also know this player to be pretty fit or fold post-flop. I'm relatively uncomfortable in low SPR situations. So we go ahead and make the unorthodox play. And strangely, we pick up a call from this loose aggressive gambler who is a limper. And then our initial raiser also comes in. So we pick up a flop of Ace King 3 with 2 spades. At this point, I think it's a good idea to check. I wasn't really anticipating 2 callers, to be honest with you. I really wanted to isolate the button raiser. So, since our first plan has not gone so well so far, we're gonna try and get to a showdown for cheap if we can with just the pair of 3s. So we check it, and luckily for us, we get check back. We pick up a 9 on the turn. It goes check again. Whatever. All right, so we got 2 spades. The river comes down to 5, which is a blank, offsuit 5, and we check again. Like I said, our plan right now is just to get to showdown cheap. We have 1 pair. There's been a lot of weakness shown so far, so it's a good possibility that some, our Jack 10s, Queen Jacks, Queen 10s, stuff like, I don't know, I guess there's not a lot that's missing other than that. I don't know, if someone has a 10-8, 10-8 suited, they completely bricked it. Deuces we can beat at this point. So we have a narrow range, a narrow window, but we can beat some hands right now. And like I said, we don't really want to turn our hand into a bluff at this point. Yeah, maybe we could, but I don't really think so. So we go ahead and check, and then our Maniac Gambler bets 125. Now we get a fold from our the button 3-better, and I look at the hand for about, I don't know, I really didn't consider another option in this. So we'll just go ahead and say I call here. And our gambler flips over an 8-6 suited for 8 high, and we scoop the pot with pocket 3s, or with a pair of 3s. I guess all I wanted to talk about here is that I really don't think this guy is going to be value betting that hard. We have $180 in the pot, and he bets 125 into it. When he checks twice, I'm absolutely positive he doesn't have an ace or a king. And when he bets the, after a 9 and a 5 run out, I don't think there's any way that he's going to bet, run a value bet with just a pair of 9s or just a pair of 5s for that amount. Most people are going to be looking to bet somewhere in the neighborhood of, $50, something like that, get paid a little bit if they have 1 pair and they sense it's good. But since we can rule out aces and kings, basically our only real fear is that he has something like 3-5 or 9-5 or, I mean, maybe 9-3. And that's the reason he's betting now and betting this amount. So I guess this is just sort of a lesson in an exploitative play. Just watch out for people who are taking lines that don't make a lot of sense. And, you know, also check that box where, hey, this guy can bluff, as we were talking about before. So the guy could bluff, and we go ahead and make the call. God, these are taking a lot longer than I thought I was, guys. And I need to probably evaluate what we're talking about on here, because this is, yeah, I'm not getting through stuff that fast while I'm drinking. And also, I feel like there's more entertaining stuff we can talk about. So maybe for next time we will do that. I'm going to talk about one last hand, and this is a hand that hurt me pretty bad last night, I guess. So anyway, last night we were playing some 2-5-10. This hand happened when I was rough. This happened at about 4 o'clock in the morning last night, and I've been playing for 11 and a half hours, something like that. And anyway, we're just going to fire through it. So 2-5-10. I'm in the straddle with $10. Our small blind, we get a fold from the button. Our small blind pumps up to $40, and we get a call from the $5. The $5 blind, and then we call with a 10-8 offsuit. Now, I'm going to talk about a little bit why we shouldn't be defending hands like this in a second. But just bear in mind, in the back of my mind, like I was kind of tilted at this point, and I realized it's a mistake, and I got into a trouble spot with a hand that I shouldn't have been playing. So here's a word of caution for you. All right, so we go ahead and flop Jack 7-8. Pre-flop raiser bets $100 at it. We get a fold in between, and then it comes back to us. So we have a gut shot at this point and a pair. And in a four-handed game, you can never fold this hand. So we make the call. 10-7-8, we go to a turn. I'm sorry, Jack 7-8. We go to a turn of a 10. So the board now, Jack 7-8, 10. And we have 8-10. Pre-flop raiser goes ahead and leads again. This time pretty small, 125 into us. Now, at this point, we have basically no option but to raise, in my opinion. There is a one-liner to a straight out there, but he had to, really in this case, had to either flop it, have pocket nines, or jack 9, really, to be able to bet both the flop and the turn in this situation. So it's a very narrow range of hands that he can have that we can't beat. So I think really we have to go ahead and raise here. So we make it $310, and the pre-flop caller calls. Pre-flop raiser calls. This is good stuff. Oh my god. I like our spot right now. Whatever. Especially like when he calls and doesn't 3-bet, because we know he doesn't have it straight when he doesn't 3-bet us. So great spot, and we get seemingly a dream card on the river. Hit another 10. So now our 10-8 has Jack 8-7, 10-10 on the board. Now the raiser goes ahead and checks to us again, and we bet $400. And unfortunately at this point, it goes back to the raiser, and he goes 1,000. And I really wish I had a different hand at this point, because every single time that I mean, like, you're maybe going to encounter this in a 2-5 game, but what we were talking about before, where can we check the box where does this guy is he capable of bluffing in this spot? Which is what we were talking about in these previous hands. And unfortunately in this spot, we can't check that box. This is not an older dude, but he's probably, in his late 40s, early 50s. Relatively conservative player. Just not a renegade. You know what I mean? And So since we can't check that box where we say he needs bluffing, he's just like trying to take us off a hand. Especially not in, you know, at a frequent enough, he's not doing it frequently enough where we can consider that he has bluffs. We have to start thinking about his value range and thinking about, you know, what we can actually beat that he would bet for value. Now it's set, you know, 7, 8, 10, 10 jack. We lose to jack 10, we lose to jacks. We beat 3 combinations of 7s. We beat 1 combination of 8s. We tie with 10-8 if he has the last combination of that, and we tie with, or we beat 10-7, I guess. And I don't really put him on a 10-7 at this point, but there's 1 combination there. So anyway, unfortunately at this point, it's like 500 back to me. I'm getting odds. I go ahead and call, and this guy shows us jack-jack. So we end up losing like, whatever it was, 2,700, something like that. A $2,700 pot. Lose $1,300 on the hand. Which is a real pain in the ass, man. It sucks. So the real takeaway that I took away from this, and I think everyone should, you have to go back to pre-flop to resolve this hand. Now, someone made it 40. A guy called in between, and we're looking at 4-1 on our call for $30. You know, we're calling $40, so it's 30 into 90 right now. We're getting 3-1 on our call. We need 25% equity to get our money back. Now, what I really strongly suggest, and what I will take into consideration for the future, is kind of going with a Doug Polk type starting hand range. And if you haven't seen it, go check out the Upswing Poker Lab. Doug Polk has a lot of really well. Doug Polk has some good stuff. All right, I know there's a lot of Doug Polk fanboys out there, and Doug Polk is certainly a very, very good and accomplished poker player. His pre-flop chart it's got, at the very least, some of the stuff that he's ruling out of playing pre-flop. If you don't see it on his chart, don't play it. Like, the guy has, he's got, I think, a conservative, I think he initially took a pretty conservative strategy and then decided that he had to add in bluffs. And I think he added in as many bluffs as he possibly could and as many loose hands as he possibly could into his ranges. And then, you know, kind of moved backward and forward from there. But if he's not recommending that you should be playing a hand pre-flop, and in this case a 10-8 offsuit is like, even for the price that we're getting, I think a 10-8 suited he would be fine with. But most offsuit hands, him and Ryan Fee are very against playing. So just go ahead. All right, fine. Go get a pre-flop hand chart from Upswing. And if you don't see hands on that list that you should be playing pre-flop, just don't fucking play them. That's a good takeaway. I think it's a real good takeaway. So anyway, you should do that. I was going to try and keep this under 20 minutes. I'm at 23 minutes now. We're going to talk, I guess, one more minute about stuff. Next week, looking to play a lot more poker, review some more hands, drink some more beer. That'll be fun. Unfortunately, I didn't get to make a lot of money this week. Made about $600. I really should have crushed it. Or not crushed it, but that last $1,300 that I lost, I had no business losing. So I really wish I hadn't done that. Next week we're going to be focusing on not making unforced errors, and just keeping on track, man. Putting in a lot of hours, making sure that we're not tilting, not forcing action, and just in general not drinking while on the job, and fucking just getting back to kicking some ass, man. I think I'm going to end it with that. I hope you guys have an excellent weekend. I hope someone watches this. The obligatory to the fucking 10 people that watch this, there's a subscribe button somewhere down here. If you liked it, or if you feel like you can support it, hit subscribe. I'm going to try and put out new content. Hit the like button if you can. Go crush, man. We're going to try and get some good stuff going, and hope you guys have a great weekend. I'm getting out of here. Later.